What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Leak, and we have a new segment on my channel, and it's called "What Do You Do with Leak?" So I interview people from different backgrounds, I interview people and see what they do in their positions at their job. And today I actually have an old friend of mine. We go way back to middle school. My man Stalanic in the building.
Yeah, thank you, man. It's an honor to be on your podcast. Been following your work, man. This is great.
Appreciate you, G. So, you all probably don't know, but Stellanic, he is a software developer. More specifically, he's got a lot of work in back-end development. So, let's actually just start off from the top. Let's go back even before,
Yeah,
you got.
run it back.
Yeah, let's run it back. So, what did you go to college for? What did you go to school for?
Man. College was a fun time. It was a lot of discovering what I want to be, who I am. So I always knew that I want to work with computers. I feel like I was very tech savvy growing up, so that was kind of my game plan. So of course I went in with the typical computer science. But man, that's a tough program. I'm not gonna hold you. So I'm one of those. I'm not math wasn't always my strong suit. So of course I struggled when it came to calculus. And then I found out I need calculus too. I was like, all right, this is this program might not be all the way in for me. So honestly, I wish I stuck through with it. But end of the day, I went down to I'm not even going down. I switched path to information systems, um, and that on its own was very rewarding. I'm happy that I took that path. Uh, for the reason being that information systems was kind of encompassing a little bit of computer science, but it also gave you the business and user interaction. Like so, I'll say in information systems, you're basically taking the client's configurations and translating that to the developers, and you kind of have that 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 lingo switch, so you can talk to both parties. And I was able to see the best of both worlds. So I would say that tells me a lot in my future endeavors going forward.
That's what's up, man. I actually was gonna ask you, like, so did you have like a major
Yeah,
switch? But it seems like you were gonna be comp sci, but then you went to info systems. So, you
yeah.
pretty much, it's not like you're going from like arts and crafts to, like,
Exactly.
so okay,
So
okay. So so when you were in school, like, what was it like? What was the lifestyle for? Did you go for the typical, American school lifestyle, like American Pie? You know what I'm saying? Or these people that they be at school, they be trying to do it big, like join the
yeah, do
fraternities.
everything. I Man, I would say I definitely fell into that. Let's live it up and have fun in college. But at the end of the day, I knew what I needed to do, get my grades in and graduate. Like for instance, I bounced around school. I went to Bridgewater in Virginia. I played football there for a year, so I experienced that, and from previous injury, I didn't want to keep that forward, so I decided to come back home. Went to community college for a semester or two, and then transferred to Townsend. That's where I finished up at. But yeah, throughout that, I think I had a balanced lifestyle. Joined a fraternity for a semester. I was like, yeah, that's not for me either. I know, right?
Hey,
So
yo,
really,
listen, G,
I
I
missed it.
already know more than you think. My goodness.
Yeah, been there, huh?
Been there, did not finish that, but thank God I didn't.
There's that. I ended up getting a fat check at the end of it. They're like, yeah, you still got to owe. You still owe us. I was like, oh, come on.
Dang,
It was
bro, that sounds like a story time video to me.
that's a whole nother video for sure. But no, so I would say all in all, man, I really did have a balanced experience. It was fun. Definitely enjoyed every moment of it. Some few things I'll do different, but overall, it was a great experience.
So, when you came out of school, did you immediately go straight into what you're doing now?
I would say, for the most part, yeah. So I had a kind of odd situation. I was working part time during school, and this is like almost a non-technical job, but it switched technical. It went. I mean, it had a technical aspect to it. So I was working at this local food co-op at called the Common Market, and it's local to Frederick. Only two stores, but you know, with any business, they require IT or have some kind of IT um, in house. So once I graduated, I the opportunity kind of fell in my lap. There was we had somebody that was leaving, and I just kind of said, "Oh, I graduated, and this might be a good fit for both of us." And from there, I was able to start out as like system admin, taking care of the point of sales and just working back end and configuring any application. And honestly, that was the best experience for me because I was able to see a little bit of corporate side and just have the like free mobility to explore and really and to see what I like about development and just system administration. So that was a balance role, I would say.
Okay, okay, and so that was the only position before where you're at now.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, actually, I lied. From there, I went on to work for this other company, Vita Health. They're in the health space, and they're they basically were tracking implants that went into patients. So I was working there also as a kind of got there working as on the implementation team, so helping them configure new customers and clients coming on.
Nice, nice.
Yeah,
Okay, so let's now get into specifically your career that you at right now.
yeah,
So so for this section we're gonna have a bit of expectations versus reality. So
uh-huh.
what you thought about certain things before you got into position. Say like you just on Google looking at all these different things because we all did it. We all was in college looking at the
Of
salary and all
course.
this different stuff and the reality of like once you got in that position. So the first topic I would say is the work environment. You know what I'm saying? Work environment being the type of people you're working
Hmm.
with, like personalities, like was it like what was the expectations you had, like, oh, they're probably like this, and then like when you actually got into the dev space you're in now, it's the reality.
Yeah, yeah. I would say expectations on paper is never really what you see in office, and it honestly it could be like they give you a job description that might be over complicated or just worded in a way that you think that you don't have the skill sets ready for it. But once you get there, like most of these jobs, like they would baby you, hold your hand, and like show you the ropes. Like they're not just gonna throw you into their infrastructure and expect you to know everything from the jump. So I would say that that's kind of like the biggest misnomer about one of these technical roles. Yeah, you would need to know the basics, but for the most part, these roles come with training and guidelines, I would say. So that was kind of, I would say, one of the things that caught me off guard for sure. I think you mentioned the work environment itself. Um, so I've experienced both hybrid and fully remote. Currently fully remote with my current position, but the hybrid role was um, it, it was fun. It was definitely interesting. Just being in that workspace environment and just seeing all the different departments work together to build this platform. Because I work for a SaaS company, so it was just basic. It was really interesting in my role, just seeing all of that come together. Because I think personally, also I want to put up a SaaS application up. And for people, for the viewers that don't know, SaaS is software as a system. So basically, I mean that's like your ultimate recurrent revenue as an entrepreneur. So that's something I look forward to. That's something I plan on creating myself. So just being in that space and seeing that was very helpful. And I'll say for being as far as the remote role goes too, that's a different expectation for sure because you gotta have that work life balance. Because sometimes like you look up and it's past 5, but you're still working, and I mean it doesn't even feel like work sometimes. So that's the benefit, I would say. But yeah, you just gotta. I think you really just gotta create that rapport with your coworkers and just know the expectations on like what they want done and when they want it done. So it's a little different for everyone, I would say. But that's my biggest guideline, I would say.
Okay, got you. And so like, so for people that like are on the outside and looking at like, different stuff like software engineer, data engineer, and backend developer, like
Hmm.
they probably see all these terms and they think of, people with glasses, people that don't leave the house, people that are
Take my
super.
glasses off.
You're less intimidating, bro. People that are
Right.
super sophisticated and all this stuff. So like in terms of the different types of personalities and backgrounds that you've came across working in your position, what can you say to what you've personally experienced with that?
Yeah. So most of my roles I've worked backend. I mainly be focused on SQL database. So I would say that's my expertise. But I would say you really wouldn't know until you try it all. And not you don't not like not even have to try it on in the work environment, but just try it on in your own like development space. Like build something. That's literally the best way to figure out what you like and what you don't like. And from what I figured out, front end is mainly if you're into that UI space, you like to configure design and like have a page look in and flow in a certain manner. That's more front end, I would say. And when it comes to back end, it's like the stuff you don't see. It's essentially what you it sounds like. So that's your database and all the behind the scene scripts that are running. That's kind of what you'll be managing as a back end role. And um, I'll say yeah, they both have their the pros and cons. It kind of require a different suite of packages and software that you'll be working with. So it'll be good to know and have background in those softwares and tools. But there's also the full stack developer role too. So it gives you
Man, they
like you
have you
said,
being a hamster on a wheel. That is me right now. I don't mind it, but
that's
like,
you, yeah.
yeah, it's you're like a hamster on a wheel. And so like
Yeah.
with those roles, like, do you feel? I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is like,
Mhm.
because me personally, when I first got into my first role, like 2 years ago, like I thought it was gonna be like a bunch of brainiacs. I thought it was gonna be a bunch of people that just like, they
Mhm.
talk like, hey, like, did you do that thing last week? Like they just talk like that or something like that. But the reality of it is like they were just, they may have been people that were like really into sports. They're into basketball, or like they're people that,
Yeah.
they come from different back. Like, do you have that same opinion? Like it's not just all brainiacs and stuff like that.
Oh, very much so. Very much so. It's like you said, um, all walks of people in these roles, and you never know who you get. And of course, I think every company has that brainiac, that go-to person that just been there forever, knows it all. So there's always one of those. But for the most part, everybody is always also there to learn and just building on their skills. And that's honestly as one of the biggest thing as being in that software space is just being okay with learning every day. It feels going to change every day. There's nothing is stagnant. It's new packages, new updates come like ever so often. So you just got to sharpen your skills and you got to be okay with that.
We got about 10 years until ChatGPT replaces us, so I
Man, I'm telling
think.
you, we're all gonna be prompt engineers at the end of the day. So just get your prompting,
Oh, I'm just
get your
playing.
prompting right.
No, I'm just playing, man. So okay,
It's scary out here though.
yeah, it's scary, but I feel like I think people that, I don't know, you work as a clerk in like a grocery store, maybe you should be looking over your shoulder more. No offense, but it's just like that type of stuff. I mean, we have already seen automation like start to work in. Like I personally use self checkout over. I don't remember last time I got somebody to bag my groceries for me. To be honest with you.
It's hard. It's hard when you're doing.
So that's
Yeah.
that on that. But okay, so let's get into the compensation piece, the expectations and the reality on
Hmm.
compensation. So when you were in school, just put it to like, like I thought I'd be making a lot, or I thought I wouldn't be making too
Yeah.
much, and then when I got out, this is the reality.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, of course, I think everybody as they're working towards the field, they're they're doing the numbers, huh? If I make this a year, how much? You always calculating and you want to see yourself grow. And I would say for the most part, the market will be in that low. Definitely, I say if you want to, if you have your degree, you come out, have some certs, like you don't want to take anything less than 65. Um, and of course, that depends on the role, but I think 65 should be your base. And the, honestly, the sky's up from there. Sky's up from there for sure. Like, and comfortably, like you see yourself after 2 years landing at the north of 100. Like it's not hard. It's not hard at all. Like we can all do it. There's plenty of capital out there in these roles. And don't be, and when you see that listed for that says 100 or something, don't be scared. Like that 100 or something. And like I said, back to what I said about the description of the job being more complicated than what it really is. They usually these descriptions are written by HR, and it's not as one to one to the position and the job. So like put your name out there, go through the interview process. And I found that most jobs interviews I went through, when you talk to the development team, they're mainly looking for a fit on the team. Like, oh, is this somebody I can work with every day? Is this somebody that's knowledgeable? And they're not, yeah, they're often not there to see you fail on a job interview. It's kind of just a personality test. Of course, I mean for sure, know know your stuff and come prepared for the interview. But yeah, just be a sociable person and be a good teammate. Honestly, that's what I would say sets the interview candidate apart. Uh,
Nice, nice.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, so in terms of your work-life balance, what did you think that would be like, senior year in college versus like when you actually got into, being a developer?
yeah. I definitely thought I'd have a lot more free time than I thought I would have. But I would say for the most part, it's kind of myself too. I'm I'm still working that first job I told you at the common market. I work there on the weekends and I do my contractor job on the weekdays. So it's two gigs. So it's hard to, yeah, that work life balance is a little tough right now. But I mean that's kind of the benefit you get with working in the IT field. I would say you can take on multiple roles as long as they don't overlap, and I guess whatever, like sometimes you got to sign some NDAs or whatever. As long as they don't breach, you're good, right? Exactly. So I would say, yeah, my work life balance, it's a little tough right now, and also development. I spoke about like this creating and being an entrepreneur. I do a lot of coding on my free time. I'm still working on my personal projects and like want to set up a SaaS business at one point. So when I'm not working, I am doing working on my hobby projects. So and hopefully to see some recurring revenue on that once that's launched in the future.
Nice. Okay, so you said so at first you thought you'd be swamped, but then when you came out, it's like I got some more time to do stuff I need to for myself.
Yeah, yeah, there's definitely a lot of time, and you can make yourself as busy and as free as you want. It kind of depends on how focused and how much time you want to put in that role for sure. And that extra hours you put in at work too, it definitely gets noticed. So if you're just sticking on later and working on some extra projects, or just even your teammates seeing you on longer, they notice that you put in that extra hours. So it really is flexible, and it's really as much as you want to put forth, and that's kind of the outcome you get from that.
Cool, cool. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's move into some general questions.
Yes, sir.
What is the most exciting thing about your job being a developer? What's the most exciting thing that you look forward to every day that you do the job?
Yeah. I would say I would say just working on with the new tools, or not even like just tools, but just working with code. It doesn't yeah, I say yeah, just working with code in general. Code like it's hard to mess up. I mean, it's not hard to mess up, but it's like you can't really you can't like whatever you break, it's not the end of the world. So it's or not never not say not the end of the world because you could mess up some serious serious stuff, but it's forgiven. You don't yeah. So I'm losing my train of thought. Yeah, you can't really you can always undo, put it that way.
You can
And
always hit Control
so
Z.
yeah, Control Z, yeah. So yeah, just I would say just working on different like for me specifically, we set up different clients on our platform. So I would say just like working on the different configurations, and it's just like working with code, just updating.
Okay, so if you weren't a developer, and let's leave the IT space. Let's completely leave IT. Like, could you possibly see yourself doing anything else as a career other than anything IT related?
It's hard. It's hard not to see myself in that space. I mean, if I'm not doing that, I'll definitely take the entrepreneur route, and if that's not there, uh, yeah, it's tough. Because I think at this point, I'm thinking like, what field is AI not gonna take over? Like,
Hey, so anybody watching this video, I think this is a good frame of reference about how you should be thinking about making your money, especially when you're
yeah,
working for
yeah.
someone. Now, being an entrepreneur, I mean, if you could sell yourself, you can sell yourself. But how
Mhm.
he's basically thinking about, what other thing he could do is just like, what I mean? He's basically saying like, what job would I not eventually be useless in? No offense, but it's just like
Yeah,
that's kind of how you got to think about it. Because I mean,
yeah,
if a company can cut you as an expense and just get like a computer to do the crap, like they don't have to pay the computer a cent, unless they got to do software updates. But like, so I think that's something to think about, people. If you're in a career, if you're in a certain field, like think about how useful you can be. Not only how
hmm,
useful you could be, for how long can you be useful doing that thing, because eventually,
that's
because
true.
apparently, because that I literally saw a whole chat GPT timeline of like, in 2 years it'll
Hmm.
replace this job, in 3 years it'll replace this job. I was like, bro, firefighters, how the hell is chat GPT going to replace firefighters? I'm like,
Yo,
what?
what? Okay, that
Firefighters.
damn.
Yeah, like I'm like, maybe
Firefighter.
like Uber.
Oh,
I could see Uber, or like, because like they have like Teslas that like can drive themselves. Now, of course, that's gonna be a little different and strange with like parking on the street, because like, how is Chat GPT or like this AI going to know, like,
yeah,
what I'm saying, like, oh, I can't park there because it's a no parking, like,
exactly.
I don't know.
Exactly. I
Whatever.
follow that space also, and it's yeah, it's gonna get there, but it's like it's gradual for sure. It's gradual, and yeah, like you're right. That's the thing. When you really got to look at the job market right now. It's like what is gonna be least impacted by AI, and how can I pivot from that? So I feel like just having um the technical background covers you with a lot of these roles, and yeah, honestly, if I wasn't, if it, like back to your question, if I wasn't in IT or in that tech space, I would say yeah, something that's been around forever, a doctor. uh,
Chat GPT cannot do surgery. I don't want to hear it. It's not. They're not going to do
Not
surgery.
yet, all right.
They better not ever be. I would never trust AI to do surgery on me. Goodness gracious! Like,
Yeah,
what if the new
yeah,
software patch like allows it to like cut better into your stomach or something, like some weird. I don't know. I'm not trusting that crap. But
yeah, that's crazy.
yeah.
Crazy.
Okay. So what advice would you give to somebody that they're trying to make a pivot? You know what I'm saying? Like maybe it's somebody that
Mhm.
they're in school currently, or like they want to go back into school, or they want to say effort to school altogether. Like how could they get into the space you're in, being a developer?
Yeah, yeah. So you're saying that they're not school is not their thing? Yeah, good one. I say with that, man, we were just talking about AI. It's almost as 10 times easier now to get into learning basic coding and just being in that and really just get your feet wet with just like if you I talk to ChatGPT religiously almost every other day or every day just with my project. It's crazy, and that is literally my coding assistant. So it doesn't what is it, look down on you for asking stupid questions, put it that way. You can be as stupid or as intricate with your questions, and it will give you its knowledge base. It would guide you and help you. So it's so basically what I'm saying is I think the best method to really learning and exploring this field is literally building and start develop, like set up your first web page, see how that feels like. Just from the time you get to running that web page locally, just even running that locally, you're gonna learn so many steps along the way. It's like, and to do that too, like just ask ChatGPT, I want to set up a website. What would I need? It's gonna break it down to you like, oh, you need to have your development space set up. It's gonna tell you packages you need. So it's really gonna give you the A to Z, and that goes a long way just to get you started. And but once you get to the actual code and syntax, that, that's something you really can't get away from as far as ChatGPT. Yeah, it'll give you code, but you kind of still want to know what's going on with these syntax. So you're also gonna have to do your own research. And a lot of these softwares or tools have a great developer page and really breaks down what each syntax does or how to do whatever. So like look into that, and or just like watch a course. There's gonna be a course out there that really tells you and it shows you the development process and flow of that. So so yeah, just have like a basic background of like, I mean, you want to go front end or back end. So basically, yeah, you want to know that first, like because that full stack development lifestyle it's definitely the hardest, I would say, because you would need to know both worlds. So I would say pick one and then kind of like you narrow yourself down that path and like understand what tools and knowledge base you would need coming in. I'll say the hardest thing you learn is learning the concept of object-oriented programming. Is literally probably the hardest thing you need to grasp. Once
Oop.
you can grasp that, once you can grasp that concept, I think you'll be all right. Like it's, but like there's a lot of books out there that breaks it down for dummies. It's not a hard concept. It's just a new way of talking to computers and
Right.
code.
Right. Okay. So, like, for the other hand, like, whereas like people that they're in school and like say they're either in comp sci or they're in info systems, like, how what advice would you give to them to just stick it out? Like, say like they failed a class already and they had to
Yeah,
retake
oh
one.
man,
Like, have you gone through anything like that?
failing. I told you I switched my whole that's the information system. So of course it's gonna be bumps along the way, man. Don't let that scare you off. It's you gotta. I say just stick it through. Um, yeah, stick it through, man. Like you have a lot of resources out there. There's like if you made it to college, um, like and you know the resources that you have around you now. I really feel like it's almost 10 times easier than what we went through back in the day. Uh, so it's like, yeah, look, use all your resources. I know classes have like TAs. Come best friend with your TA. Create a good network of people you work with and collaborate. Honestly, I'm not saying a cheat, but a class that works together passes. You know, you really gotta, and that's a fundamental of being in the corporate workspace. You got to create that team space, and and I'm not lying. Like when you get to this corporate workspace, you're not gonna do a lot of development from the ground up. It's you're usually coming back and working on somebody else's code and updating somebody else's code and fixing somebody else's code. So you're not so it's always a team effort at the end of the day, and So yeah, just stick it through and yeah, get all the resources and help that you need. It's it's even easier now with AI. I would say it's like ask any question, like any question that you really need. It would help you and at least get you to the right path, I would say.
Right, right. And y'all, you all have heard it here first. This guy is literally a representation of, even if you went the route, trying to go the CS route, you can still make a pivot. You can still go to info systems route, you know what I'm saying, and come out being a
Yes, sir.
developer. I think a lot of people think that, when you get the info systems, like you can't get into that developer space, which is not true. You could definitely get into the developer space. I mean, I've worked on people on my team like their degree was math and they're a front end developer. Like,
I'm telling you,
like,
telling you.
you know what I mean? You just have to be able to walk the talk, so to speak, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just like he was saying, like object oriented programming, like it tends to be people that they come from that CS background that like they like literally threw you through the mud and just like smashed your face into the, you know what I mean? Like that's like me personally, like I was stomped into all that stuff. Like all that stuff is ingrained in my brain. But at the same time, it's like if you want to take it upon yourself to look up these concepts on your own, like you definitely can do it. It's just like don't don't be scared about it. You know what I mean? Just take that first
Mm-hmm.
step, as this man is talking about. But
Yeah.
yeah, so this has been the interview with Stellanic, the backend developer. Um,
Thank you.
and no, thank you, sir, because I want to have so many people from so many different backgrounds come on here and show people and tell people that you can make a pivot at any given time. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to
Yeah.
stay in your career path. Like fam, you could. Well, I don't know about be an astronaut. I think like that's one of the only things you can't. You can't just. I want to be an astronaut. Like you gotta be selected for that shit or something. I don't know. I think.
It is a rigorous process, I heard.
Yeah, fam, and just I didn't just seeing, no offense, but seeing like some of those rocket ships blow up, I think I'm good because it's just
Good, good too. Yeah, I can have that one. Let's put the robots in that space.
Hey, I'm about to clip
Uh,
that. That's funny as hell. But hey, this has been What Do You Do with Leak featuring Stellanic, the backend developer. This is the first one of many, and this is my first interview on this channel. So for like careers. So I appreciate you, sir. You know what I mean?
Thank you, man. Thank you
Yeah.
for having the space. No, honestly, this is a great platform just to show people that people of our complexion are in this space and making it work for them. It's truly it's truly a space that I feel like everybody can prosper in, and you really just got to put in the groundwork, like we talked about, and just focus in, lock in.
Yeah, y'all, like go for it and try to really just stick through it and use Chat GPT as much as you can. Goodness gracious, use it.
Use it. It's a tool, man. I feel like it's a calculator. Like back in the day, they had calculators. Now we got
Yeah,
ChatGPT.
now we got Chat GPT, fam. So, but I appreciate you, Stellanic, for your time. And
And thank you. Likewise.
yep, and this has been What Do You Do with Leak? Signing off.